Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Thanks for joining me tonight. Awesome. So there was a time change, as you know, summertime in Europe. So I hope everybody got the message. Hi, Eric from Vienna. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Hi, Jens from Germany. Thanks for joining. Hi, Joanne from, Joanne from Netherlands. Mark from the UK. Hi. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Marie, hi. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Are you doing some artistic work again today while watching the stream? From Sweden. Maria is from Sweden. I'm not likely to be fully here today. Got other things I need to pay attention to. Okay, that's okay. No problem. You can just listen and look at the screen once in a while. Yeah, so that's awesome. Hi, Ute from Germany. How are you doing? Thanks for joining my live stream. Just Dude, hi. Thanks for joining. And Maurice, hi. Thank you very much for joining. Also awesome. From New York, upstate. Pretty cool. By the way, if you see the names and there's like this little the symbol, my channel symbol next to that, that means that's one of the channel supporters. So join. There's this button under my channel where it says join. And then I don't know, how do you call the people who do that? Supporters, I guess. I'm not sure, but this is what that means, by the way. So thank you very much for that, Maurice. That's pretty awesome. By the way, here you can see this on my screen here. The reason for that is because I totally did not think about that this time I have an online course, but there's also a free download with it. So the counter, of course, counted also the free downloads, and the offer ran out pretty quickly. So I changed that, and the offer is still on. No, don't worry about that. There was just one person who purchased it without the discount. I refunded it for the discount amount, so everything should be perfect there. Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for that. Oh, I should also put that in the chat here. Does it work? Yes. And then I should pin that so you can see where to get that. Boom, there we go. Hi, Bernardo from Mexico. Thanks for joining. Hi, Just Dude. How are you doing? It's always loved how nice you are. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. I hope I can. I hope I am. Yeah. Okay. By the way, while we're at it, so just so you get a bit of a better understanding, let me push this over here for the chat. And then, what is this? Oh, okay, I know what that is. Work live. There we go. We have the message up here now, so you can see that up here. Wait, here it is. Okay, cool. Just to show you a quick way, like not the full online course thing, but just I have already created a mask here, so you can see. So this is the original image that I'm also using in the online course, and then here I have the mask around that already created. By the way, I'm going into detail on how I select the hair here. And also up here and stuff like that, and refine the selection. All of that is explained in the online course, so you get a nicer like result for that. But this time, because I have to tell you about that before I get started with this. I was thinking about doing a creative pack because I thought this could be super useful for so many people, and I always was interested in how people get these like the really cool shots with these interesting backgrounds, and a lot of them are digital. So I wanted to create a pack. And then I thought, okay, make a pack and make a video, but to actually use the pack better, it's better to actually have a full online course that explains everything so you can really use it rather than just have these backgrounds and then like not get good enough results. So I thought, okay, why not make it into an online course? And this is why this time it's kind of this bigger thing where it is a full on pro pack and the online course together in one thing. So it's actually kind of crazy the amount of content that is in this thing, but yeah, I I really wanted to do that because I really like that. Let me find the files. They are here. Digital backdrops. Oh yeah, so here you have all of them. Wait a second. That's quite a lot of stuff. And of course, you see they repeat. The reason why they repeat is because I set up the light for that background, right? In different ways. Like it comes from the top, it comes from the top right, sorry, and it comes from the center. So you have a easy way to apply that. Which one should we apply here? Maybe this one is a little bit brown earth, or that stone one. I don't know. Let's use this brown one here. So let's see, the name is Earthy Stone, and then we have a Earthy Stone Ambient. So we need both of those. I just want to show you, do you see what I'm doing? Yes, okay, cool. And I will look at the chat in 1 second, 1 moment. So we can close this now. Okay, so you can see also they have a high resolution, and there's some texture to them. So yeah, it's very nice. Okay, cool. So you apply this onto the image like so. Of course, you move it into the background like this. 1 second. I have to turn on my mask, move this out of the way. Then you can see the light is coming from the top left, and in my background it's coming from the top right. So we are simply going here, flipping that over. And then you have here the ambient, which is basically an average blur of the background. You move it on top. I copy the mask over, apply to this, so you can see it's just on that now. And then I go to soft light, and then I reduce the, whoa, this is on the mask, sorry. I go here to soft light, and then I reduce that like so. So we have the actual ambient light, and then that's basically it in a very simplified version. The course covers a lot more, how to create the mask really nice, what kind of pictures to select. Then also you can see here, when you look at this part, we have some residue of the original background light. You can see here, this is the original background, and of course the light shines against the skin. So I'm showing you how to remove that from the skin so you have an untouched skin and can apply the ambient light on top of that. So everything about that is super easy and super intuitive in a certain way as soon as you understand it. And as you can see, like when you look at the original, when you look at the original photo, it's a nice background, it's a simple background, right? And the thing about a digital background as a digital backdrop is that you can use any kind of backdrop, right? Because buying them is expensive, and then you still have kind of just a limited space to work with. And if you want to change something, also setting up the light is pretty complicated. So digital backdrops are actually a very, very good solution compared to classic backdrops. So having just a normal gray background and then doing this kind of thing actually makes a lot more sense, I would say, in a lot of cases. Not in every case, of course, but in a lot of cases. Okay. Let me have a look at the chat real quick. 1 second. Lots of people joining today. That is really cool. Wait a second. How do I get the chat here? Okay, there we go. Okay. What have I missed so far? There we go. Oh yeah, here we go. Long story short, running a role-playing session for friends. Wow, that's awesome. Pretty cool. Is that like like you sit on a table with cards and you read a story like that, or like real life where you're running around, stuff like that? That's pretty cool. I just saw videos of that online. I've never done that myself, but it sounds pretty cool to do that. I'm not sure if I could do that. Maybe I'm too shy to play like an actor and you know, like different roles and stuff like that. A wizard or something. I'm not sure if I could do that. But it sounds pretty awesome. BTO says, what's up, my friend? Everything's good. I hope you are fine too. Joanne, hi from Belgium. PA, Peter in Ontario, hi, how are you doing? So nice to always see so many people who have already been there last time. I phrased that terribly. Okay, anyways. What's the name? Carte? Do you pronounce it like that? From Switzerland. Hi, how are you doing? Eric from Austria. Hi, thanks for joining. And Luke from Belgium. Hi, thank you for joining. Awesome. By the way, this time I make one thing the first time. Let's close this down here. So this was a little presentation just to see how that goes. The link is somewhere on top of the chat, right? Is the link to that online course and pack. I can't see it myself, but I'm pretty sure it's there. Okay. Good. So let me go to my, here, to my browser, because this time, for the first time, I want to point out some pretty cool posts I've seen in my group. Whoops, there's some message popping up here. There's some matches popping up here. Awesome. Facebook needs a private mode. These pop-up things, you can turn them off for some time, right? That would be really great. So this is from Erich Putzler. Pretty cool work. You can see, I'm not sure what that is. Is this like a 3D graphic, or is it a city and you jumbled that up to look like a 3D? I'm not sure. But he's blending that with a portrait, and you can see here, there's some details here on the face. Very nice, really cool work. Very, very interesting. So thank you very much for that, Eric. Then here's another work from Trude. Oh no, they are 1 second. I have to. Oh no, now I'm in the wrong software. 1 second. Give me a second. Okay, I'm switching over here. I closed them already. I'm not sure why they popped up again. Let me close them in all tabs, because for some reason on Facebook, when you close it in one tab, it's still open in the other tab. Okay, I'm done. How do I switch back? There we go. Okay, cool. So this is from Trude, and she did this. Wait a second, maybe. Oh yeah, the sound is off, so that's good. Let's turn it off here. With a software, like a video software, Pro Director. I'm not sure how she did that with this rain and the drops and the thunder and all this kind of stuff, but it looks pretty cool. Very nice. I've often seen that, like you see this as a background for these kind of video music videos on YouTube, right? You have these mixes for an hour or something, and then have this kind of stuff in the background. So it's pretty cool. Very interesting, very nice. Not exactly photo editing, but of course still interesting. And then there's another one by Joanne. This kind of painterly style here with these kind of borders and stuff. So that's also very nice. Looks pretty cool, I think. With this a little bit like water painting, right? So that's also very nice. So I'm just pointing out some pretty cool posts that I've seen this week. Thank you very much, Joanne. Very, very cool. And here's another one by Ellen with this kind of painterly effect a little bit, which is done by Jimmick. It's a free plugin that you can use for Affinity Photo, just on PC, by the way, with a ton of different effects in there. It's a little bit, well, can you compare to anything? Maybe like Filter Forge in a certain way. You can't. I'm not sure you can build your own filters, but there's like a ton of filters in there that you can use, and they make all kinds of crazy effects. Have I done a video about that? I've done so many videos, I can't remember. Maybe I did. So thank you very much for all these cool entries. And now we're getting started with our black and white editing. I'm not seeing anything here. 1 second. There's my chat. Did I miss something? Let me have a look at the chat real quick, and then we go on to the photo editing. Where did I leave off last time? I'm not quite sure. Oh yeah, I remember this. And then look, yes. Marie says role-playing is entirely online. Oh, for us using Discord, really? Oh, interesting. Okay, not even Zoom, so you can see each other. Just Discord with a voice chat. Interesting. Closer to tabletop version. We are telling the story in text. Interesting. Okay, pretty cool. Very nice. By the way, I mean, disconnected from this live stream, of course, but topic wise, what is it like? Of course, I know you can write your own stories and stuff like that, but why not just play like an online role-playing game, like, I don't know, Elder Scrolls Online or stuff like that? You can like go around and do the quests and stuff like. Of course, it's a pre-written story, and you have to kind of, I don't know, but you're in a 3D setting, right? And you can do all these kind of things. So see, that's rather my kind of way to play, right? These open world games, and then yeah, you just do all these kind of actions. So I'm a very visual person, so I like to see the surrounding and all the magic that's happening in actual effects, right? So that's appealing to me. Okay, anyways, there we go. Oliver. Okay, Oliver. That's my YouTube channel name. I see. Okay. Hi, Tim from Colorado. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Where all the myths are true, and we play half gods in San Francisco in this particular game. Interesting. Okay. It reminds me a little bit of the, oh god, what's the name of the famous author? I think did he write Gods or something? What's the book called? Gods, American Gods or something like that? The very famous author. I can't remember. Let me quickly type this here. American Gods. Who wrote that? Neil Gaiman. Yes, Neil Gaiman. How do you pronounce it like that? Neil Gaiman? I say Gaiman. I think it's probably the German pronunciation. Anyways, okay, let's get started here with what this stream is actually about, and that is kind of portrait edits in black and white, or maybe in color also. I have looked up some different styles here just to get some kind of idea about what is going on. Not what is going on, but like different kind of inspirations of how people are editing their shots, because there's a lot of, I like this a lot. Especially these bright eyes appeal to me. Also kind of Jesus look a little bit. So that's very nice. It's also cool, this rim light. By the way, I looked more into these rim light photos, and I'm surprised that most of them have a very white rim light, a very thick rim light. I always thought it's like just pencil thin, just a thin line. But apparently not. In most cases, it's pretty white. Yeah, not too good, not too bad. Okay, this also nice, a little bit extreme. I like the background though. Look, you see, like where you get the silhouette then? Pretty cool. I didn't do that. My backgrounds are dark. And I have a photo like this, a different lighting, but you can change the lighting afterwards, the colors of the light, so that's okay. Hi, Christian, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Pretty awesome. Hi, Jean-Lou from Sevilla. Thanks for joining. Pretty awesome. Because it's a pre-written story where you can affect things. I see. Interesting. Chat-based. Okay, interesting. Pretty cool. All right. So that's very creative. Okay, cool. So I have selected some pictures for us from my last photo shooting. Oh, by the way, I should also I think I've linked the account, but I will post it in. Okay, wait a second. I have to switch. Let me switch to the talk view real quick. Instagram. So let's have a look here. Instagram. And I have to get more active on Instagram too, because I'm super lazy there. This is the model. If you want to check him out, that's the name here on Instagram. And I can also post the link in my live chat here. If I find the chat, the windows, there's just too many windows right now. Okay, model, there we go, boom. Okay, here you go. All right. So yeah, he already has a lot of photos on there, of course. So that's pretty cool. And he's a super nice guy and always like has such a fashion style. Look at that. Look at that. Amazing. Yeah. And just style all over. He's just a very stylish and very, very nice person. All right. So let's have a look here. So I'm using Photolab today, Photolab 5. And then also Nik Collection for the adjustments. Photolab just to look at the pictures. But I want to show you something there, which is pretty cool. And then also I have my browser here, the file browser in a separate window, because you can detach that, which is pretty cool. And have it on a second screen. And if you don't, it's just down here, but that makes the image a little bit smaller. Although you can open this up and down, so no problem. So we can go through the pictures here real quick. So this is the one that I selected, and this one. And then also this one, very nice rim light. I really like that one. And then this one also. And then finally we have one with two colors here because I have these LED colors from Newer. They have been kind of affordable, to be honest. And you can make all kinds of lights because it's LED, right? All kinds of colors in there. So that's very, very useful. You don't need any gels or stuff like that. And they also work with batteries. I don't have the batteries for them, but they technically work with batteries, right? Okay. Hey, by the way, okay. Getting sidetracked. Anyways, we can discuss this in the chat. Please let me know. Before I get started, there's so many things I do before I get started. Sorry for that. 1 second. Let me open this up here real quick. So I was asking you. We can discuss this in the live chat right now if you want to. I'm going to LA in end of June. There's a big conference for YouTubers or content creators on social media. It's called VidCon. It's started by two famous YouTubers who do SciShow and all these kind of channels. Very, very nice guys. And I have to fly there, of course, from Europe, which is going to be super expensive. So the ticket and the hotel for these couple of days already together, both of those are just that is $1,000. And then there's also the flight, probably $850, stuff like that. And then you have to eat and drink and stuff like that. So I'm calculating maybe around $2,000, probably a bit more than $2,000, which is pretty hardcore as a price. So I thought maybe I could do a crowdfunding with you. I would like to give you something back. I'm not sure what. I thought maybe we could do a live workshop or something over Zoom, and you can like take part in that, so I can partly or fully finance the trip with that. And of course, my aim for this is to just become better as a YouTuber. I was on VidCon about 2 years when COVID started. I was on VidCon in London shortly before COVID started, and I learned a lot from that. Like, for example, to create that Facebook group and other things, how to just make better content. But of course, I'm right now at a point where I think my content is good, but it could be better. And I think my success is pretty remarkable, but it could be better. And I think my reach is not bad, but it could be better. So I'm at a point where I reached a lot, like more than most people who start a YouTube channel. And I'm saying this coming from a position where I had several channels before this channel with other kinds of content. So yeah, it's a long and very hard path to go. But right now I feel like I'm at a point where I need to jump to the next kind of level of outreach, of just growing the channel. And I don't know how, that's I'm at the point where I can do what I can do, but I know, of course, I know there's stuff lacking where I can improve. But it's just much better to learn from people who are really, really good. And this conference has helped me 2 years ago. So I hope it's going to help me again. And of course, you can network. And of course, a lot of my audience is in America. So I feel like that would be really good. But the amount it costs is like a bit of pain. It's a bit hardcore to pay that much money. On the other hand, you learn for several days every day from start to finish, so it's worth the money. But yeah, it would be cool if I could give you something in return and we can find this together. That would be really awesome. Okay, let's get started now finally with the editing here. And I want to show you some really cool thing. If you are using Photolab or interested in Photolab, if you go here to customize, which is kind of the developer persona, although this one is non-destructive compared to Affinity Photo. So you have all these settings here. Looks a little bit like Lightroom, but it's different. And you can go in here. Let me see where that is. No, it's not here. It's not here. Where is it? 1 second. Sorry, it has to be here. Oh, there we go. Here, you see color rendering. It says color rendering. And this is pretty cool. Look at the picture. Look at his head here. It looks like this right now, generic rendering. Then you can go for the camera body. Looks already pretty different. And, oh, this is the wrong one. Wait a second. No, this is not what I wanted to show you. Where is that? I've done it before, now I can't find it. We can leave it on camera body. Am I crazy right now? What's going on? Sorry. Come on, please. Why can't I find it right now? Huh? 1 second. Almost there. Where is that? Camera body? There's an adjustment on how it's rendered. But now I can't find it for some reason. Contrast, skin tone? What is going on here right now? 1 second, sorry for that. Accentuation, color rendering. Generic. Oh, it was in there. I'm sorry, it was in there. I'm stupid. So here you have generic rendering. And then below that, you have DxO portrait. And you can see how that changes it a little bit to something that's more applicable to a portrait. And then you have also these kind of things here. Neutral color factory tonality. And then you have neutral tonality. See how these values come out back here. And then you have tonality version 2. And then you have realistic tonality, which is a little bit flat, which could also be interesting. If you have flatter tones, you can see I can also switch between the before and after with my mouse 3 button. And this is also being exported, which is really nice. You can see that when you go from this, what is it? The camera default to this one here, the neutral tonality, it already looks a lot better. And it was just 1 click. That is pretty impressive, I have to say. And very nice, really, really happy, really, really crazy. But today we are looking more into Nik Collection because most people have Nik Collection. I'm using it from Photolab, but it's the same thing if you use it from Affinity Photo. Sorry. Wow, I can't remember the software that my channel is about. Interesting. Marie says, another interesting thing you could do with VidCon, I assume you're going to be sharing some of that on your normal channel, but perhaps one that is supporter only. Yeah, I could do some context, some content for my Patreon supporters. That could be a way, or set up a private group for the people who, like if I make a GoFundMe or something, that are supporting me there. Things like that would be possible. We have to see if that's interesting. My idea was also while I'm there, because the most important thing is getting there. And of course, in Los Angeles, right next to this famous, what is it called? Anaheim Convention Center. And there is Disney World next to it too, to really stack up everything that could be expensive in the surroundings. So it's really super expensive to stay there. This is, of course, revving, like really pushing up the hotel price, because otherwise you could find something cheaper. But of course, in that location, it's just super expensive to be there. But my plan is to travel around afterwards and then take some photos and take some videos to show how I take the photos, how I add the photos, a little bit like in Barcelona, but more focused on individual shots, because I think that people are more interested in the editing process rather than me walking around and talking about the location or stuff like that, right? Okay, good. So we have this shot here. Okay, I already showed you the shots. Should we crop this maybe? Probably, right? Because it's going to be on Instagram, right? So let's go here for the crop tool. Wait a second. We have to have a 4:3 ratio. Again, this is, at least in this stage here right now, it's non-destructive. So let's go like that and push this up here. Okay, there we go. And then apply that. So now we have this classic portrait ratio 4:3. Okay, good. So now when we go here and we want to edit this, and I'm going to start out with, because we want to make different versions this time, I'm going to start out with Silver Efex Pro. Let's click on that. You see it's starting to render down here because it's making a TIFF version of that first and then opening it up in Silver Efex Pro. Okay, cool. So, good, there we go. And now, by the way, I will unhook this. The good thing in that software is on the left side, you have you see a lot of different recipes that you can look through that give you a certain kind of idea of where you want to go with that, which is pretty nice. So you can see I can click on that, and it's going to create all kinds of different versions from that and giving me an idea what I could do with that, how bright I could go, how dark I could go, how soft I could go, stuff like that. So that can be very, very helpful in the sense of giving you some inspiration and giving you a starting point so you don't have to do all of the adjustments yourself. You start out on a certain point and then go from there fine-tuning it, right? And you can see here, for example, this one is pretty cool. Let's go a little bit closer here. 1 second, Phil. 1 second, like this. Okay, and by the way, if it looks blurry on your screen, it's because Nik Collection and Photolab sometimes don't render the complete sharpness of the image unless you're at 100%. So if I go to 100%, you can see the image is very sharp. But if I go to fill, it looks kind of blurry, which is not great, to be honest. It could be, I would rather have it really sharp, because when you do these adjustments, you need to see how the contrast and all these other settings, the softness, the gray values, everything, affects these smaller details and the overall feel of the shot. And you can't really see that when it's blurry. So that's really one of the big downsides of that. Anyways, so you see this one here. And then you have that, and you can see how this is a lot softer, has different kind of gray values, all these kind of things. And you get a very, very different expression from that. So it's really good to see these different styles and get different ideas on in what kind of direction you could go with that. And the good thing is also that, and I really would wish that Affinity Photo had these kind of presets, because what you want to do is not to go through hours of adjusting things until you create all these different versions and then compare them, but just to quickly go through an image and see which kind of style is nice, which kind of style works with this picture, and then you can go finer into that. This is why I like these kind of plugins, and also because they add a lot of knowledge you don't necessarily have or you don't need to have, also with the experience. This is why these tools and the presets and stuff like that is very useful to have, right? So yeah, what does the chat say, by the way? Nothing. Okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So let me know if you have any other ideas, like I said, about this kind of crowdfunding for that trip. Yeah, that would be interesting, because right now I'm not really sure what to do with that. Yeah. By the way, also discussing this shot, or in total, the like photographing in that style, right? So one thing you can see here, because I'm usually photographing with natural light, so I'm rather new to studio light. I have these two lights right now, and one thing that I'm like a little bit like either unhappy or unsure about is this kind of light area here in the middle. And I have this on almost all of my shots. Of course, I can fix it in post. I just set an adjustment here and then tune it up. So that is not really a problem. But on one side, it creates this shape here, which is nice because it creates kind of a silhouette, not really silhouette, but kind of an outline in the face. So you see these elements of the face a lot better. But on the other hand, it kind of separates the back of the head from the front of the head, and maybe this part here should be softer, right? So yeah, I'm still kind of uncertain about that part. And you can create points here, although I can't find them right now. Where are they? So, oh yeah, here we are. Selective adjustments. You see, I can simply create a point here in that area. And then you also have these kind of luminance, chrominance adjustments. You can see I can show the mask, and then I can set the luminance for that. Another feature that I wish Affinity Photo had, because you can see how quick it is to make a mask here. Chrominance in this case, not sure if it actually has some purpose here. You see, yeah, you can make a really precise mask around that. So let's go like this. Maybe let's go back to that, and then you have down here these adjustments: brightness, contrast, structure, all these kind of things, amplify white, amplify black. So I can make this a little bit brighter, and you can see just like that I have evened it out. This is like half a second and you're done, basically. You know, maybe not half a second, but like 2 clicks and you have fixed that part. You can see I can still move it around, and depending on what you place it on, it's reacting differently because it's content aware, or at least it's aware that the middle point where you set that is the sample point on which the rest of it is decided. So you can see in a very quick way we have fixed that. And now, the thing is, when you look at that, let me know your opinion in the chat. Now the back of the head and the full side of the head has the same lighting, but it doesn't really separate the face now. You can see like this line here is now almost invisible, and also this shape up here that before shaped the face is now not really visible. So, this is the before. This probably has more character. I just don't like that there is this dark bar in here. At the same time, I want to see the back of the head, right? You see? You could basically also do it a little bit softer, you know? Let's go down here a little bit. Make it just a tiny bit. So maybe in this case, we have both. Let me click somewhere else, like so. How do you feel about that? What do you think? Like, is the darker area as it was photographed better, or should it be brighter so the whole side of the face could be seen evenly, right? What is the better choice in that case? What would you do in that case? Let's zoom out here also, like so. And then turn that point off. So this is the before. I mean, it does have more character if that is there, right? And then we have this. Also nice. Maybe it's a little bit too soft. I'm not sure. Well, what will you do in that case? What is your decision here? Let me pop out the chat. Is there some updates because nobody is writing anything? Brighter looks better, says Joanne. Interesting. Okay. Huh. All right. Good. Okay. So let's have a look at different styles here, what we can do with this, because I want to create different versions from that. And you can see the good thing about Silververse in that case is that all of these adjustments here on the right side, they are the same. And they just the settings of them are different for the adjustments, for the different looks. And so this gives you a lot of range. And also there's a lot of things set up for you. For example, here you see toning. And then you have this kind of toning. But again, this is kind of a preset here that you can use for these kind of different tonings. You can see, you can create really beautiful styles here. Selenium, and it's named for you, which is also cool because you don't need to have this kind of knowledge of there you have neutral, split tone, selenium, you have blue toner, you have cyanotype also, then you have coffee kind of styles down here, you have copper tones, you have sepia tones, you have ambrotype. I've never heard of ambrotype, to be honest. Not sure what that is. Yeah. And they're set up for you in a very nice way. So that's pretty cool. Because to know what these kind of values would be if you do it on your own, if you know that, that's cool. But if you don't know that, it's good that the software knows it for you, right? And I think it's a major element of life today, because there's so many things you can do that you have something that knows it for you, because there's too much to know that you can simply know everything. It's just not possible anymore, right? So a little bit like selenium, a little bit like that maybe. Kind of a gray, but a little bit of a touch in there. Could be nice. Let's go like that. I think the darker is better. It's more mystic. Okay, interesting. So there's different opinions on that. Jens says, I think the darker version is better. Kind of Rembrandt light. Ah, yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. Tim says, depends on what you want the photo to say. In this case, he is rugged. I like the darker tones. Interesting. That's also true. Right. Yes, yes, yes. Because you can make a person look all kinds of ways through the editing. So that's a major part of that, right? And I really like that here with this. Can you see that actually? I have forgotten to turn on this. One second. I forgot to turn on that thing here. SwordSoft, if you want that. SwordSoft, this is that. It's called, it costs like $5 or something. It's very affordable. I can see now I can have this kind of lens here, so you can see better what's going on. It's pretty cool. So you see you have these adjustments here for everything where you can then do your own thing, which is pretty cool. And again, as you see, if you look at that, it is all named for you, so you understand what is going on. The silver hue, the paper hue, the paper toning, so you know what these sliders are. Because of course in Affinity Photo you need to figure it out for yourself, because it's just general basic adjustments like selective colors or something, but it doesn't tell you what specific kind of effect this does. And this is developed for this kind of specific purpose. That slider only does paper hue, nothing else. Pretty cool. I like that. All right. Let's go back here. And then down here in the finishing adjustments, you have a lot of other stuff. Like you have a vignette here. I'm not sure if we need that, but we could play around with that. It's making it too dark, but you do have it down here. Again, you have these additional adjustments. You can have burned edges, which again, right now we can't see because the image is too dark. And you can have image borders, which is also cool. And the interesting thing about that, if you look at the border, let me pull up a border that has a certain kind of style. Like for example, this one, let's make it a little bit bigger. Let me see, spread. If you look at these details here, these little like roughed up edges, there is a seed down here, you see? Very border. If I click on that, it gives me a different number here. You see, now it's 3,842. So that is a seed for that. And when you look over here, it has changed this part of the frame. So if I click on that, you see every time it's calculating this roughness in a different way. You see, now it's almost gone, which means that you can make a basically unique frame for every picture you create. Unique style for that, which is also pretty awesome to have that. Right now, let's turn this off. Okay. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Thanks for joining. Pretty awesome. Diana, hi. Hi, Diana. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. All right, so let's look through that. We have a histogram with everything in here. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Structure adjustments. Let's just play around with these sliders a little bit, and we can always reset them. So we can go a little bit darker, for example. Let's look at the highlights. We can save them a little bit. And you see, when you do that, it's not going crazy. It's going in a reasonable way, which is also nice for these adjustments. This is also why I like these filters. When you look at the face here, you see when I make this, I move the highlight slider, it goes a little bit brighter, it goes a little bit darker. It's not going like super extreme and completely blowing your picture out of the water. It's just going in a reasonable way. You say, okay, this is good enough, which is nice because in other softwares, you have the sliders and they go, and then suddenly, boom, everything is like completely overblown, and it's so the adjustment is so fine. You have to move your mouse like almost with a little stick because it's just a small movement, right? And here you have all this kind of range, which I find that's really useful. They should integrate that in more software, that you have these finer adjustments, or you basically can zoom into that adjustment, how far the slider should go, so the sensibility of the slider basically, especially when you get older or stuff like that and your movements get a little bit rougher, and it's very, very helpful to have that. Okay, let's see here. Midtones. This a little brighter. Shadows, we can also make this a little brighter. The dynamic brightness, I think we already looked at that. So let's go like this. Okay, contrast. It's at 25 right now. You can see I can go rather soft. You can go really dark. Let's not, let's see. A little bit more. Ooh, look at that. Amplify whites. It can make it pretty bright. Look at that. Shiny? Not so shiny. Pretty cool. Maybe a little bit more. Give him a little bit more presence. Amplify blacks. Let's see. Okay, let's leave it there. Soft contrast. Woo! That is doing a lot for soft contrast. I was expecting a little bit less action there. Structure. Let's zoom in for that. Let's see. You see here, it would be good if I see like really the sharpness and the details. Let's go in for 100%. You see, because here you can see how this really affects how the skin looks, how the hair looks, stuff like that. Let's see. We can bring this up. And again, if you look at these adjustments here, you see up here we had the brightness adjustments, global adjustment, brightness adjustments, and there you have a lot of settings here. Then you have contrast adjustments. And then down here for the structure adjustments, if you look at that, you again have highlights, midtones, shadows, black, and finer structure. And you have this for the brightness up here. So this is specifically for the structure adjustment. So this is very, very specially just for that, which is really interesting to be able to do that. So you see, if I adjust the highlights here, when you look at that part of the skin here, this is becoming more intense. You see, it's suddenly he's looking like he's sweating, like the skin is a little bit oily, you know, because it's just adjusting these kind of highlights from the structure, not from the rest. So that is pretty mind-blowing to be able to do that. Let's see. Ooh, okay, that's maybe a little bit too much. Go like this. Go like that a little bit. Black values. Ooh, that was pretty intense. Okay. Wow, you can go very dark here. Okay, let's leave this in the middle. Fine structure. Yeah, let's do it like that. Okay. Can you see the adjustments I'm doing? It's just very fine adjustments right now. Huh? Sooner, hi, how are you doing? He says, not to be a kill shot, but I thought this was going to be done in Affinity Photo. It kind of is, not really, because this is a Nik Collection, which is a plugin for Affinity Photo. That's what the title says. Does it? Maybe it does. Okay. It's a plugin for Affinity Photo. So it's technically in Affinity Photo. I'm not using Affinity Photo because, oh, by the way, I still have it open. I should close that because it's using power in the background. I'm just starting it from Photolab right now, but technically it would be in Affinity Photo as a plugin, right? So that's what's happening right now. By the way, I see a lot of more people joining right now. Is that because of the time change? Because kind of for you the time is a little bit different. For us it was 1 hour later. So for you it probably right now is, yeah, it's confusing with the time change in Europe. Yeah. But yeah, I understand what you mean, but at the same time, not like it's good to have other software, right? You know what I mean? Like you're not cooking everything in you don't have just one pan in your kitchen. Right? You have a kettle, not a kettle, but I don't know how these different things are called, but you have a stove and an oven, and you have a mixer, and you have a coffee machine. You could make coffee you can make coffee in a pan if you want to, but it's probably not the best idea. You want to have a coffee machine, right? Maybe you want to have an espresso machine. And there's a difference between a coffee machine and an espresso machine. You can make espresso in a coffee machine, but it's not the same thing as if you make it in an espresso machine, right? And you can make coffee in a pan. You can actually cook, and I think most people don't know that. You can make coffee by just putting it in the water in your cup, because coffee is heavier than water. So if you just put it in there, it's sinking to the ground and you can just drink it. No filter needed. I don't know why we have these filters. It's not really necessary. You can just put the coffee in the water and be done with that. But other people say, hey, I need a $3,000 espresso machine because this is how I drink my coffee. Okay, why not? Sorry. I think as an artist, you need some kind of variety, right? So you probably don't find many artists who paint just with one color or just with one brush or just with one canvas or stuff like that. You have different materials for different purposes. So because you get different results from that, right? Or different musicians. A musician has probably a ton of guitars or a ton of trumpets or stuff like that because they give you different results. Just because one is nice and can do really good music doesn't mean you don't want to have a second guitar that can other things do well or better or different or just like inspire you in a different way, right? And a lot of art comes from the artistic inspiration that comes from the tools, not from your mind, but from the tools. If you historically look at the art and look at when art revolutions have happened, it always was, not always, but it was mostly in the time when new tools have been invented. For example, oil color in tubes, so people can go outside and paint, which before was not really possible because it takes hours to mix oil color or stuff like that, or photographic machines, right? Really had a huge impact into paintings, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, so use different tools. Don't just use one software. It's not a good idea. Oh yes, you don't need to buy Photolab. No, you can use it standalone. Nik Collection works standalone. You can use it in Affinity Photo. You can use it in Photoshop. Can you use it in Lightroom? In Lightroom, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you can. I'm not sure. It works like a. How much is it? $150 usually. Often they have sales, and then it's $99, and you paid one time and that's it. And there's a ton of stuff in there. It's not just these filters here. It's 7 different, I think it's 7 different plugins, right? For black and white and for color and for sharpening and for perspective correction. And there's so much stuff in there, and all of them are great. All of them are really, really good. Noise reduction, also really good noise reduction in there. So yeah, pretty cool. Okay, where have we left off? Sorry, I was a little bit... oh, there's also tonality protection, by the way. Another thing that I wish Affinity Photo had. But Affinity Photo can't be everything for everybody. So this is why we have plugins. This is when I say I wish Affinity Photo had it. Not really, because I already have it in another software, right? So not a problem. Just like it's a cool feature, right? You can protect shadows. You can protect highlights here. If you like play around here, they are not like they are protected in that way, right? So that's pretty cool. Okay, by the way, you set this a little bit darker, and I also kind of like it a little bit rougher here. So let's go here. Sorry for that. And set this a little bit down again. Whoop. Maybe we brighten it up just a tiny bit. Let's go like that. Okay, cool. By the way, we should look at the overall picture. How is that? So this is the before. Is this the before? Interesting. It's a little bit, wait a second. I think we did something here where, let's see, amplify whites is a little bit too much. Let's bring this a little bit back. It's a little bit too bright. Okay, there we go. What else do we have here? Clear view, which is also pretty impressive. We don't need it right now, but I can turn it on. And this kind of, you can see it automatically fixes a lot of things. So you can get a really super gritty look also with that. Look at that. Like this kind of, look at how this is now suddenly pumped up. Where is the setting? I can't see. There it is. You see when I turn this off? I turn it on. It makes everything very clear and clean, and often it removes fog and stuff like that. We don't need it for this one, but it's pretty cool. You have a color filter here too. We don't need that. You have film types, which is also pretty amazing. Especially this is in Silver Efex Pro. And you see here, these are different brands of film, which is mind-blowing. You see here you have different ISO types also. It's sorted by ISO, and then if, for example, ISO 100, you have you see that here, Agfa, APX Pro 100, Adox Silver Max 21, Foma Pen 100 Classic, Fuji Neo Pen, blah. All these classic, Ilford classic black and white film brand, Kodak again, Rolei Retro 100 tonal. So they adjusted it so it looks exactly like that, or pretty close. So basically, after you've taken the photo, you can decide what kind of ISO and you can decide what kind of film it was taken on. And when you look down there at the curves, this means they adjusted it in a way so it creates that looks through these adjustments, right? And this is also some kind of knowledge infusion you get through using these kind of plugins, because yes, you can set up the curve like that, and you can see here these color settings are also jumping around. But would you know what the exact adjustments is so you get the result that looks like an Agfa APX 400 or any kind of other film in here? Probably not, right? So that's really the benefit here. Actually, that one looks pretty cool here. Let's see. Let me zoom in here 100%. Go up here again. Where's that? 400. Which was that? This one, right? That looks pretty cool. Has a bit more noise in it. Yeah, let's use that. That's kind of a very nice softness to it. Okay, pretty cool. All right, so should we do this as the first version of that image here, and then we do some other versions of that, or we go to another image completely? We can also do that if you want to. Hi, Shari, how are you doing? No problem. Today's time change in Europe. Summertime has begun for some reason in the middle of winter. Not the middle, but yeah. And it's really so warm here. We had a winter without snow. I think there was a single day where it snowed a tiny, teeny bit, and the rest of the winter was warm. You mostly didn't even, you could walk outside without a jacket. That's really like super extreme right now. Anyways. Okay, let's click here on apply. Or is there anything else we would change? Maybe look again here through the toning. I kind of like that. But let's see if we have a warmer gray in here. Copper tone. That's also good. Maybe copper is better. It's a little bit old school though. It's a little bit too soft, maybe. Sepia? Nah, it's too much. Don't like that. Coffee? No. No, let's leave it like this. Okay, cool. So let's apply this. Another image. Really? Okay. We can do that. I want to look if do I have an image where we see the eyes, because I wanted to create that effect. We have this one too. I want to play around with this one because this can be pretty cool. So this is the original image here. Let's put this down here 1 second. This is the original image. I've talked too much. I always talk too much and edit too little. Pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. I think I will do some more editing after the stream. I used to do streams like 5-6 hours long, but you didn't like that. For some reason, you don't want to sit 6 hours and watch me talk. How is that? How can that happen? Anyways, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very nice. Okay, cool. So let's go and have a look here. I like this a lot because the way he's looking around the corner basically here is so amazing. Very, very cool. Go one-on-one. And I like the lens. Look at that. Whew. So nice. Look at these details here. Whew. Very nice. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's play around here. I also wanted to, oh man, there are so many things I wanted to do. I also wanted to go into color effects. So let's play around with this. Maybe let's go more with the presets. Should we use another plugin this time? We also have, although this is loading pretty fast, so let's use this again and just play around with the presets a bit. Yeah. And you know, another thing, by the way, one thing that bugs me a little bit, and of course I have to admit the reason for that is because I have to lower my screen resolution so you have bigger buttons on your screen when you look at the live stream, because otherwise everything here would be super small. This gray bar down here, what is that? Who decided that? For the apply button, why isn't this somewhere up here? And why is so much of my screen is wasted on this huge bar? The only thing it does is give me the choice between cancel and apply. What? I don't need that. What is this for? I don't understand. Why isn't this? There's a menu up here. Put it in the menu or make a small button up here, but not waste like, I don't know, it feels like a lot of my screen is wasted with this little thing here. I don't know. Very strange. Anyways, okay, let's look through the presets here real quick. Oh my God, look at this. Ah, that's super bright. Nope. Ah, so nice with these presets. Although I'm not sure if we actually have something here that fits my... Ooh. It's also nice. I don't like the frame around it, but let's see. Maybe I should do this in color effects. Also nice. Wait a second. Let's cancel this real quick. 1 second. Where is it? There's the TIFF. Let's delete that. We don't need that. Okay, let's go here and go for color effects, because there we have some more filters for different kind of looks. Okay. Hi, Rolf from Ireland. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Pretty awesome. Okay, good. So here we have, first of all, let's put here black and white conversion. And then let's see. Do some adjustments here. A bit more brightness. Let's look at the contrast. Okay. We can leave it like that. Okay, let's do another filter here. Let's zoom in here. Damn, that looks good. Okay, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so now, what? Oh, the navigator is there. Okay, cool, no problem. Let me look at the different, look at these many filters you have here to adjust stuff. It's pretty crazy. Let me see. Paper toner, pastel, pro contrast, color cast, skylight filter, solarization. 1 second. Page bypass, raise and warmth, classic soft focus. We can have a look at that. 1 second. But this, it kind of brightens the rest. Let me see here, the shadows. No. Okay. Let's see. And the good thing here is that you can stack these filters on top of each other. You can play around with them and replace them. So that's very, very nice about that. Dark contrast. Detail extractor. Let's see. And as you know, I'm doing a tutorial series where I explain all of these different filters and what they're doing and how to use them. And I thought this time I'm making this live stream to look into different kind of like how to edit these portraits. Although I'm just talking too much, so that's a little bit in the way. And I'm not sure if you can even see the changes in the live stream. So this is adding some grain to it. It doesn't have saturation, of course. So this is I think maybe we have to, let's leave the glow here a little bit on. Levels and curve midnight, Monday, old photo. Yes. Have a look at that. I think this picture might be too dark for a lot of these adjustments here. Wait a second, is this? My screen resolution is maybe too low. You see there's more stuff down there, but I can't reach it. Okay, that's strange. Never had that. It's too high contrast. 1 second. Maybe this just has too little detail to use it with, let's cancel this, with Color Efex Pro. Let me delete this real quick again. What does the face look like? So we do have the eye here. This eye is too dark, I guess, for anything to show up. Let's go here for brightness. Is there anything in there? No. Okay. So let's go here again and then use Silver Efex Pro again. And then we also do the color one and then we do the review. Okay. So I have to, let's go in here. Whoops. No, not like that. Okay, let's see. So we want to adjust the highlights a little bit so they're not exploding here on the head. Midtones go like this. Shadows, can push this a little bit up. Let's see the full picture. And this time, I guess we could use a vignette to really make sure that the sides are dark. Dynamic brightness. Okay, contrast. Zoom in again. And here we could also play with the, by the way, one thing I don't like about the Nik Collection is that it's not so easy to save different versions of that. Because you have these plugins. If it was integrated like you have it in Lightroom, you would have the ability to see, you can make it softer here, you can make it harder, to save different versions of the same one and then go back afterwards and edit it. Here you have also this kind of non-destructive thing you see down here. You can do non-destructive editing, but it's kind of different. It's not as quick also. Chris says maybe this picture already was excellent. Maybe. Liked the hard contrast and the original. Really? So you think just some small fixes or what? I mean, you see there's this kind of overblown, like the head is a little bit too much, right? But we could maybe neutral. Let's go back here. Yeah, this is the original, this is neutral. We could maybe just soften this a little bit. Highlights, bring them down a little bit. Shadows, let's see. Now we can leave that. By the way, here we could try with clear view. Let's go to 100%. Oh, that was the wrong one, sorry. Okay, so this is without. Maybe bring in a little bit of that, let's see. A little bit more. Okay. Color filter we don't need. Film type, let's look at the film type. Let's zoom out here. Maybe the same one as before, because it literally has such a soft, nice look. This is also nice. Ilford Pen 400. So let's zoom in here a little bit more. You see, this is the 400 from Ilford, and this is Agfa. By the way, there's another thing that's interesting. Like, there's also a benefit of different software is in Lightroom, for example, you can make versions and then you can directly compare these versions to each other. So you see small changes, big changes, different kind of styles, and you can do it really quickly. So you can stay in the flow. You make like 5-6 versions of the same photo with like small adjustments, and then you just compare it to each other, right? Which in here is a little bit more complex to do. This one is also nice. Maybe that one? Yeah, let's go maybe with this one. Zoom in a little bit more. See the hair up here. Kind of like this better. But this is a little bit brighter. Let's stay with that, because I edit my photos too dark. Put a control point on the highlight and adjust. On which highlight? On the here on the head? Wait a second. This one here? I have a highlight adjustment. It's just, oh, it's a little bit too much here. That's right. Yes, we can do that. Or let's leave it like that, 1 second, and then I can also make a control point here on the forehead, make it a little bit smaller. You can always turn on the filter, the mask, to see where this is actually hitting. And then I can go in here and for example, I can turn down the brightness, or you can also adjust here the highlights down here. Like this, maybe. Let's see. So this is without it, and this is with it. Yeah, maybe better. Let's see. Yeah, why not? Okay. Good. Okay, what else? Let's go down here to our vignette. Let's have a look here. Oh, but this is taking away from the hair, so that's not great. You can also have an inverse vignette, which is nice. Now maybe let's leave that. Let's see again with the color toning. But maybe with this, is a neutral gray is maybe better with this one. So it didn't actually, like I said, it didn't need too much adjustment this time. Interesting. Let me see. Oh, I just remembered. 1 second. Let's go here, make a control point here in the eye, make it really small, like so. Let's see where this is going. So I mainly just want to have the white of the eye. Okay. Then let's brighten this up. Ah, 1 second. This is taking a bit too much. Okay. Let's see. It's a bit too bright. So now there's a little bit more of the eye visible. Okay, let's apply that. Good. So we have some rather soft adjustments here in this one. Not too much. Okay. So let's also touch this a little bit here. This one I'm going to open up with Color Efex Pro. Because there we have more color to play with. Stylizer, okay. Actually, let's see, favorites, no, portrait, all, cross-processing. Let me have a look at this. Get some interesting results from that. For example, this is pretty interesting. Okay. Let me see. Levels. There's so many filters here for the stylizer. We had that at the beginning. Ooh, sorry. My smartphone, I should have turned that off. 1 second. By the way, this is another thing, like for example, where it is easier to do it in Lightroom in that case, for example, because there you have these. Lightroom is very good with these color adjustments, color grading things. So that is also pretty cool. We can actually have a look at that. Should we do that? Because we already have done a lot in... let me see. Let me switch over real quick. 1 second. Let's go to the talk view. 1 moment. Let's go out of here. Because I wanted to show you this. It's pretty impressive also. And then we also need to do the weekly review. 1 second. Let me just open this up real quick. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, and I have to find the image. Oh god, I forgot about that. What's the image number? 1 second. The image number is 7175. Okay, good. 7175. Let's see. Ooh, I have these other pictures too. Oh, there's no file names here. Oh, come on. 7175. Didn't find it. Boo. Okay. One moment. Almost there. How does it look like? 1 second. What's the chance? Recipes are tremendous. Yeah, recipes are pretty cool too in Nik Collection. That's true. They are also very, very awesome. Yeah, let's do it like this. Come on. Why doesn't it work? Almost there. He's looking to the left. Well, we can also take one where it's looking to the right. Doesn't matter. We just look at the image if it's sharp. Sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Almost there. Why is it so hard to find this image right now? Does my cat? Oh, that's the end. Okay. What is going on right now? 1 second. Now he has it up there. Okay. These are the other shots. Am I crazy right now? What is going on here? None of these images seems to be the one that I'm looking for. Or we can also use this image. Okay, let's just use this image. I can't find the other one. Let's go here. There we go. You can see it now. Marie says, I have started to save off the recipes edits. What? Save most of the recipe edits with the name of the project. Yeah, that's also a good idea. To save it with the name of the project. Give me more of an idea, a style. Yes, absolutely. Okay, cool. By the way, one thing, this is Lightroom, not Lightroom Classic, but Lightroom. Just to look into that too, which is very nice. And one cool thing that this has is that it looks at the image and then it analyzes it and gives you suggestions from edits that it's downloading from what the community has created, what the community shared with the community, right? So of course, in this case, there's a lot of garbage in here. Usually there's some cooler stuff in here, but let's go here for cinematic. And from that, the other benefit is you can see when I mouse over that, it's applying that very quickly. So you can go through that and get some wow, this is pretty cool. You get some very quick ideas on how stuff is looking. And when you like that, you can go here and say save as a version. So this is saved as a version now. In the inside of the picture, not non-destructive. And then you can also say, 1 second. I like this. I want to see more like this. You see down here, it says more like this. You click on that. It's thinking again. And now it's giving me alternatives that are similar. So that is also like for an artistic, like quick, how do you say, prototyping, to just get some quick ideas on what could look good, what could be impressive. That is very nice. That is very, very impressive to have this ability here. You see, this one, for example, is almost the same, but the difference is here in the neck, you have a hint of color in there. And pretty cool, actually. It looks pretty good. So let's save this also as a version. And then you can compare the versions, which is also very nice, right? So when I look over here, down here, you can see you have the versions, and now it's saved here. You have this original, and then you have these different versions. And again, I can simply mouse over them to give me these different kind of results, right? So that is this is kind of the magic of these different kind of software tools, to have more than just one tool to be able to play around with that, right? So let's go back to the original. Close this down here, and then you have these settings here. And one thing that Lightroom is doing amazingly good is this section here, color mixer and color grading down here. When you open this up, you have these three areas, which again is pretty awesome because you have shadows, highlights, and midtones. It's not split toning. It's better than split toning because you have individual midtones here. It's also pretty amazing. And now if I go here on these values, first of all, I can also target colors, which is very nice. But you also have these kind of adjustments here. And now you say, well, I do have HSL in Affinity Photo. I also have these kind of sliders. It looks it looks similar with these points. The cool thing here is when you look at that, this goes from a certain value that is close to that tone, from a little bit more green to a little bit more blue. You can't go willy-nilly any kind of way, super crazy. This gives you adjustments in a range that makes sense in not in comparison, in relation to what you adjust with the rest of the photo, right? And this, of course, makes the process easier and more streamlined, right? And the colors stick together better because on the edges where they connect, they still work together. You don't have suddenly like strange individual pixels that have completely different colors than anything around that, right? And so for adjusting images, and this is the big difference, Affinity Photo is for editing images, and there you need this big range because you want to be able to do whatever you want. If you adjust a photo, you want to stay in the limits of the photo and make it look nicer and tell a story through that adjustment, right? And so you want to have a certain range where you adjust it that looks good, but not go completely crazy with the values because you're not creating these kind of very far-reaching edits that you have in Affinity Photo, right? Okay, anyways, let's go in here. And you can see I can adjust this in a very nice way that gives me different kind of looks for that blue on the face. And I can also go over here and make it purple. So I can actually adjust it in a way where it looks similar to the light back here if I wanted to, right? So you can actually still adjust it in a tremendous way, but at the same time, it's still fitting to the image. So I can move around here and find a very nice looking blue tone, and then you can also set up how strong the saturation should be. So let's go a little bit softer here. And you can also, for this tone, adjust the luminance, how bright that should be on that part of that character. Actually, let's zoom. Oh, what did I do now? I kind of reset it. Okay, interesting. There we go. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Let's zoom out again. I just want to have that part here. Okay, cool. So let's go back in here and do some adjustments here. So let's go here with this kind of blue. Covers most of the face, and then we're making it less saturated. And then let's see, maybe a little bit brighter. And then we have this tone back here. And like I said, you have this target also. I can click on that and I can then click here to select that tone. And as you've seen, when I click on that, I have an adjustment right there at that point. This is, again, pretty amazing. So this is, again, why I like to have different software tools, because for different tasks, they are just more efficient. You see, when I move this around, now these values are changing. Strangely enough, also the blue is changing. I don't know what this is about right now. So this is kind of the live effect, right? Something that should not happen. To select this tone and then adjust that tone. Let's see. Yeah, when I do it over here, it's just that tone. Strange. Okay, interesting. Let's make this a little bit brighter. And then let's see. Should this be more red or more pink? I feel like pink is better for the blue. Let's go like this so it's not too extreme. Okay, let's turn off this kind of picker here. And we can also wiggle around the other values here a little bit. By the way, I would like to see what this is. Ah, this is this one. Okay, cool. Ah, you see? Because there was at the face before, there was a little bit here that's kind of purple in the middle of the blue, because this part of the face has a different light on it. So now I can adjust this, and now everything has the same blue, just with a little bit of sliding here. And what Lightroom also does very good, by the way, is that it adjusts it in a way where you don't get kind of ugly borders or things like that. It's really blending nicely with the surrounding. So that's also very good here. Sorry that I'm right now not in Nik Collection. It's just for the last picture. I want to do some editing in here. Let's see for this. Just to also have a bit variety. Yeah, maybe leave it like that. Okay, let's see. Then we have some adjustments down here for the texture. Let's give it some more texture, some more clarity. Dehaze can be very useful, you see. Makes a lot of areas much darker. The vignette right now we're not going to adjust. We can add some more grain. Always a fan of good grain. Sharpness. For that we need to be at 100%. Stainless steel. Oh, interesting. Interesting point. Okay. Do we have also noise reduction? I don't think we need noise reduction here. Let's go up here. I should maybe have done this at the beginning, but never mind. Bring this a little bit down. Bring this a little bit up. Exposure. Okay. And then another thing that's really cool here is that you have this kind of masking here. And I don't know, in this case, probably it doesn't work too well because everything is dark. But usually you can, for example, say here, select subject. Let's try it if it can understand the subject. We have to wait for a second. Whoa, that was remarkable. Okay, cool. In that dark setting, you see it understood exactly what the person is, including the object here. And so I can go now here and I can invert the subject selection. So now I have the background. And now all these settings here are applied to that background, right? So I can turn down the exposure for the background to give it, to make it much darker in the background. So you don't have any kind of white values back there, right? And you can also turn this on and off. So you see, for example, here you see the folding of the fabric I have in the background. And now if I make it dark, you see less of that. And you can also use a brush here. And that brush has some additional settings, and it also has an auto mask setting that understands what is going on in the background. And the cool thing is, another nice idea here, for the selection brush, the size is simply your mouse wheel. That is very useful, that for different modes, you just have the setting where the mouse wheel is used, right? And for other ones, it can be more complex that it needs to be, but in some cases, it's just more useful to say, hey, I just, one major thing I need to do here is to adjust the the brush size. So let me do it in the mouse wheel, right? And then you can also add here to that. Let's go up here a little bit just to make these parts a little bit darker, like so. Okay, pretty cool. So now you see we have made the background a bit darker. Okay, let's go back here, and then we had the vignette slider from before. So I can go a little bit like this, which also makes the shirt down here a little bit darker. Although we haven't cropped it yet, right? Let's have a look here. 4:3, 3:4. There we go. Yes, okay, perfect. Good, so now we have that. Okay, good. We could, let me quickly check that out. Let's make another mask here with a brush, and then go here in the back side of the head, like so. And I want to see if I can give this more exposure. Just want to try this out real quick. It's probably staying pretty dark because of the auto mask. 1 second, let's delete that mask again. Brush. No auto mask. More flow. Then just paint here. Make this brighter. Just want to give this a little bit more, make it a little bit more prominent. Let me see, saturation, pull this down a little bit. Okay, let's see. I think that's better, right? When you have a little bit more back there. And the good thing, like I said, it's non-destructive, so you can always come back later and say, well, maybe it was too much. Maybe I want to set it back again, right? No problem. Everything we do here is non-destructive. All the masks, everything. Okay, cool. So that's it. Yeah, we can also compare it to before. This is the before. This is the after. So you can see you can get some pretty nice and quick results. Okay, that's it. Let's do the weekly review. I hope that was interesting. Mostly Nik Collection, which again is an Affinity Photo plugin. You can use it in Affinity Photo. Sorry for that. And then also a tiny, teeny bit of Lightroom, but I like Lightroom. It dragged me back in, to be honest. I didn't use it for a pretty long time, but like about a half a year ago or something, I with all the new additions, I think mainly around the time where they had this kind of Adobe conference online, which by the way, this was the best online conference I've ever seen. Like, they did it so well. Usually online conferences are pretty crappy. You don't feel involved. The programs are stupid. You don't know what is going on. It's just a big, huge mess because most companies don't understand how to do that. They did it amazingly well. They had really interesting guests. There was a live chat also where they would answer questions. You were super organized where the events are, how to join them, all this kind of stuff. And get this, YouTube right now is doing a kind of a master class. You don't know where it is. It's not on YouTube. They have to send you an email and you have to find that email. Mine was in the spam folder, so I missed the first 2 lectures. And then I found it, and then you have to join on that page and kind of understand how everything works, and then you can't rewatch it because you can rewatch it, but they have to send you a link, which again is not a YouTube video for some reason. I don't know what's going on. It's really crazy. And the presentations also were kind of could be better. Like when I go to something like that, I want to have something where I sit there with the mouth open, like, oh wow, you can do that. I had no idea, and not hear stuff that I've heard like a million times before. And you find it when you search for 2 seconds on YouTube on how to do that. It's kind of sorry, by the way, if oh my God, if anybody is listening right now who made these sessions, sorry if I said it like that. I'm sure it's pretty cool for beginners. I'm just a bit more advanced. I would like to have heard some more like stuff that makes me go like really stunned with amazement. Anyway, sorry for that. It wasn't meant in a way where I talk bad about someone. Sorry, that was me and my big mouth. Sorry, that wasn't intended at all. Yeah. Just what I wanted to say in comparison, the Adobe conference had really, really impressive guests. Anyways, there we go. I've ruined my image right now, so this is probably the end of my channel. Anyways, there we go. So this time I had a challenge for you, which was kind of like this, negative space. This is actually a drawing, by the way, which is just like mind-blowing that someone can draw like that. I think it's made with a pencil or something like that. But the idea was to figure out, to understand the power and ability of negative space. And in this case, there's different versions of what negative space can be. So for example, I often use negative space to describe empty areas in an image. So I don't have an example right now, but where you stand and then you just have a lot of space to the side where nothing happens in the image, but you have space to, your mind can breathe in that area. That's also kind of a definition I use for negative space in photography composition. But in this case, it's artistically to work with the image. And you see here, like to leave out the hands, you still in your mind see the hands because your mind is just creating the understanding of, okay, these are hands, but you can then fill it with your own creative mind on how these hand looks and what they are. And also it's drawing you much more into that. And it opens up a sort of a story element that lets you fill it with your own fantasy, right? So these are some reasons why negative space can be very, very interesting. Now, you had some very interesting results for that. 1 second. By the way, I posted multiple links and they wouldn't work. For some reason, the Pinterest links all didn't work. And then I finally used Instagram link. By the way, let's close everything here on the right side. Close tabs on the right. There we go. Okay, cool. So the first one is by Diana. Let's open this up in a new tab. And here we have the source materials. So let's have a look here. And you have some goose in the background and then some dolphins in the foreground. Pretty cool. Pretty more like a graphical element in that case, like a design element, like a bit like an ornament in the way you've used that because of this kind of symmetry here with these dolphins. So that's pretty interesting. Also a little bit musical, like notes. And also the moon or the sun, in that case, could be both. Well, it could actually be both, is also negative, which is really interesting, right? So yeah. It's adding a really interesting element to the picture, and in this way you really went more like a ornament decoration, I would say. So that's pretty cool, and it removes it from the space of just being a photograph and goes more into something like bit more like poetry or something. So you can see how powerful that is. Like if you would have the same picture with these elements and you put in a moon and you put in some real dolphins there and some real goose in the background as a composition, it would give you so much information and define everything for you that you would look at it and stop right there with your imagination. But because these are cutouts, these are negative spaces, it's more like poetry, and you have more room to feel in it and to fill it with your own imagination, to fill it with your own ideas, and yeah, it's really interesting, right? Pretty cool. Really like that. Very interesting. Here we have the source, by the way. There's a splash. Where's there a splash? Maybe you used it down here or something where the dolphins are jumping out of the water. Interesting. Yeah, probably that's it. Very nice. Very nice. Cool idea. Thank you very much, Diana. Really awesome. Let's go to the next one. Marie, I hope you're still here. Let's talk about that. So here, what you did, look at that. Very interesting. So instead of adding something to the image, you basically cut out the shape of the butterfly and then replaced it, pretty cool, with, I guess this is ripped paper. Let's look at the sources here. Yes, ripped paper edges, pretty awesome. Yeah. And you shape them in a form that is following the butterfly. So that's also really cool, the way you've done that. And by the way, I was also thinking about doing a tutorial on how to do these shapes around like how to use that and then form it into the shape of something, maybe a text, or it could be also something like this, so it flows around the outside. Because Affinity Photo doesn't have a shape follow function, right? So that could be interesting. I also like how you added this kind of vintage, a little bit Polaroid kind of touch to it, right? With the square and then with this kind of frame here around, a little bit looking like paper. And you have some grunge on here, like it's an old fading photo. Pretty cool. Very, very nice. Really interesting. Okay, awesome. You're still there. Hi. That's awesome. It's been going in the background. Okay, that's awesome. Very cool. I hope it was interesting today. There we go. So thank you very much. Really cool. I really enjoyed that. Very good idea with the ripped paper. Very, very nice. Okay, here is one from Chris. This one is a little bit different. So here you decided to just have a shape that is a little bit brighter than the rest. So not really a negative space in that sense where there's nothing there, but just like a different in brightness, a little bit of a different in exposure maybe. So also interesting. Although in that case, if you do it like that, it immediately looks a lot more like a ghost. Of course, which is interesting for different forms of storytelling, but it already creates a certain kind of expression, a certain kind of image in that sense, like that is a ghost that is standing there physically and you're seeing what you can see. So I would say it's a little bit different from having this empty space that you can fill with your own imagination. This already kind of gives you a certain kind of story because we imagine often ghosts like that, right? Like these translucent shapes. But still, interesting, cool idea with the horse in the landscape. Very nice. Thank you very much for that. Pretty awesome. Okay, let's go on here. Ooh, Eileen. Interesting. So we have a keyboard again with a butterfly. Nice selection on that. And then you have some notes in the background. Interestingly enough, the note sheet is blending with the keyboard. Because first I thought when I saw it as a small thumbnail that this is coming out behind the keyboard, but it's kind of on the keyboard, like how do you say, emitted from the keyboard a little bit. Interesting. Again, it goes very easily into more of this kind of design direction. But still pretty cool, very interesting. And I really like how all of you have like a really different approach to this. just because of the task with that negative space, rather than what we do usually with the composites and the effects, stuff like that. That most of you went in a completely different direction. That is more, like I said, more like looks more like a design in the way it's combining the different elements. Because in a classic composite, you want to you build a scene, you see it like a stage, and you fill it with different actors and characters and stage props and stuff like that. But you make it coherent, like in a world. While here, a lot of these approaches stick elements together in a way that is more two-dimensional and more like a design that has more this kind of poetry element of bringing elements next to each other, but not combining that completely in a believable world, right? So that's interesting, right? How just using a technique can completely change the way you approach a task and you find a solution to that task. This is also what I was talking before with the different software tools. The technique you're using and the method you're applying to find a solution has a huge impact on how the solution is going to look for you, right? So always good to experiment with these, especially if it's methods that you're usually not using in your other editing tasks, right? Here we have the source materials, pretty awesome. Very cool. Okay, thank you very much for that. What's the time? Oh, already almost 2 hours. Okay, this is from Oliver here. What is this? Oh, okay. Some very fine details here for this, like very small. You see here, there's 2 characters lying on the ground on a beach. When we look at the original image, it's getting a lot clearer what is going on. And when you look at this, it is getting very abstract. Like, because of the way these shapes look, they almost look like they are inside of a, oh, how do you call this? If you have stone and then there's a hole in the middle, it's you falling into a, what is that called? Wait a second. Into a canyon? Really, canyon? Sounds more fun. In German, it's Schlucht. Germans have always these hard words, right? Oh, you can't hear that. Sorry, only I can hear that. Canyon. Okay, it's a canyon. Is it really canyon? Shouldn't be another word for these smaller, like, are you calling them canyons too? I thought a canyon always has a river on the bottom, right? Interesting. Anyways, so it looks like they are kind of floating there or falling or something like that. I don't like, when I look at that, I don't think about a beach anymore. But at the same time, it's a cool way because it's a cool thing because these shapes give you the idea that it's something completely different than a beach, and so you kind of figure out, oh, this line that the water makes at the beach looks the same as a canyon wall from the side. Pretty interesting, right? A ridge. A crevice, yes, crevice, ridge, that makes a lot more sense. That sounds a lot more like what I was looking for. Canyon is like a too romantic word in that case, right? What do you say? Crevice. Crevice, yes, there we go. Falling into a crevice, yes, that's it. Absolutely. So really interesting, very nice. They kind of look like they are floating in outer space here, a little bit. Thank you very much, Chris. Really interesting. Oliver. Ooh, there we have another one. This is very close to the original inspiration on Instagram. This is from Laura. Ooh, very nice. Interesting. By the way, you can see here when you look at that where the shadow is. It's also interesting. The shadow here is behind the leaf, not inside of the leaf. I think when we look at the original, the shadow is inside of the hands. Let's have a look here. Let's scroll down here again. Let's see. Oh, no, it isn't. It isn't. It's also behind. Oh, interesting. I thought it was inside of the hands, but then it would look like the face is floating on top of the hand, so that wouldn't make too much sense. That's true. And in this case, also but if you would imagine that the shadow would go the other side, like this is a cutout, would also be interesting. Although in that case, it would make the face the picture look probably more two-dimensional. We can actually try that out real quick. One second, let me see here. Let's open this up. That should be a very quick thing to try. First of all, we need to have a white background. Let's put it behind that. And then we're gonna do like this and cut this out. No, that was not working. One second. Have to rasterize this and then cut it out. Okay. And then we go here and we make a shadow. Is it an inner or outer shadow in that case? I think it's an outer shadow. It's a glow. Outer shadow. Let's go. Radius, offset. There we go. So now you can see we have a shadow inside of that. And it looks like the leaf is like behind the face. But of course, if you do that, as you can see here, if you do that, it looks like the photo is becoming a photo, and it's becoming a two-dimensional shape. While when you have the shadow on the other side, as in the original picture, this the background is a original scene, and then you're just missing the leaf. So you can see how much that is changing the expression of that. And also this kind of looks creepy because it looks like a part of the face suddenly is missing, while here you kind of understand it's just a leaf. So really interesting to see that, how that changes with if the shadow is inside or outside of that leaf. Okay, awesome. Let's go back here. So really cool. Really like that. Very interesting. Here we have the original picture too. Very nice. Also with the black and white edit. I really like that. Pretty cool. Very interesting. Oh, the bubbles. You added some bubbles too. I like how the bubbles look. I would have thought they are really there. Very nice. Really cool. Huh. Interesting. By the way, if you start out with composition and working with these kind of different elements and such, starting out in black and white is a really good idea, because, for example, with the bubbles, if these would be color bubbles, it would be hard to adjust the reflections on them because they show you the surrounding with the different colors. So it would be hard to find the bubbles. They have the same colors as the picture that you want to apply it to. But here, because it's black and white, you don't have to care about the colors at all. Of course, you see reflections still in there and they don't match up with the rest. But if you don't look directly at the bubbles, you don't see that right away, right? So working in black and white is a very good way to get started with composition and just to figure out what you want to do and how you want to creatively progress with your work, right? Okay, thank you very much, Laura. Pretty cool. Oh, here's a different one from Sharon. All right. No source in this case. Ooh, what is this? That looks very fancy. Did you cut that out and then... Oh, that is a great idea. So she cut out these elements here and then put them over here like flying pieces of eggshell. And I guess you either used a bevel or a 3D light effect in Affinity Photo to create these edges here. You can see they are nice and round. Let's zoom in here a little bit closer. You can see there's a little bit of a rim light here, a little bit of a shadow on the other side. So this becomes a little bit three-dimensional. So you can see the thickness of that shell. Pretty cool. And you did the same thing over here. You added a little bit of shadow down here, so you can actually feel that this is cut out of a shell that has substance, that has material there. If you just cut it out and make it black, there's no substance. The shell needs to have a certain amount of thickness. So you really very nicely simulated that here. And then also, yeah, with the other elements, pretty cool. Very, very nice. You forgot a little bit the reflection of these down here, but never mind that. It's pretty cool still. Very cool work, very creative idea, and really cool execution. Very, very nice. Thank you very much, Sharon. Great work, great picture. This is from Gap. Okay, this was just my chat bot. Ooh. Is that Is that cut out, or did you give the cat a sheet of paper that is cut like a cat? Let's see the original picture. Ooh. Wow. That is surprisingly good. I was really sure that the cat is actually holding a piece of paper and you photographed it like that. But this is a piece of paper, right? Or is this also done in Affinity Photo? Because it looks very much like a piece of paper that you photographed afterwards. That is really nice. I like also how you selected the fur of the cat. That's pretty difficult to do that. Very, very nice. Very nice edit. Also the shadow here and everything. And then you put everything in this kind of selenium black and white kind of look. Also very cool idea. I like how this, the blue, I mean, of course, color has a lot of impact in the story. And because this is blue, it feels like, when I look at it, that the cat is kind of depressed and down, and then it's hugging this toy to feel well. Which, of course, when you have the colors more warm, it's more like a loving scene where the cat is playing with the toy. So very different kind of story. But I like it that way. Pretty cool. Very nice. Wow. This is a very, very good work. Really like that. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, there's the original picture. Let's have a look here. Done with freehand vector pen, external shadows, freehand pixel pen brush, and a paper texture. Really? You did that digitally? Wow. Those are some, oops, 1 second. Those are some very nice brushes. They really look like pencil. Paper texture, that's clear. But these brushes, they look really nice. Really like actual pencil drawing. And there's some discoloration here from the paper, so that's pretty cool. Very nice, very nice. Again, here's the selection with the fur. Ooh, very impressive. Really, really nice work. Okay, thank you very much, Gap. That was very amazing. Okay, here we have Jean-Loup with a different approach, as always. Is this, what's the name? I'm so bad with actor names. Is this, what's the name? Gary Richardson or what's the name? Why is he so small? And who is that? Probably also a famous actor. Huh, interesting. Oh, it's a child. This is why the face is so small. Okay, cool. And probably this is not an actor in that case. Okay. But what's the name of this guy again? He was so famous in the past when I was young. He made some pretty famous movies. Do you remember the movie? I think it's called The Game or something like that. That was a really cool movie. What's his name? If you don't know that movie, you need to watch that movie, The Game or something like that. Okay. So here you have some. Of course, in that case, if you have this kind of negative space here, everything is like filled out with the meaning of the puzzle. So it doesn't really enable you to fill it with your own emotions and imaginations. But it is still very cool as a creative process and as a creative way to work with photography, right? So that's pretty cool. The one thing that puzzles me a little bit, pun intended, is that the place where there is no puzzle pieces have the image, and then the place where it looks like this is the way where you push in the puzzle pieces, they have actual substance. They have a thickness, but the others don't, which is a little bit strange. Is this the print on the backside of the package? Michael Douglas. Why did I say Gary Richardson? Who's Gary Richardson? Isn't he a photographer? Michael Douglas. Wait a second. I have to check this out real quick. Michael Douglas. The Game. Yes, The Game. That's the movie. Is there an image? Yeah, The Game. This is a really cool movie. You have to check this out. It's so cool. I kind of like the way they told stories back then. It was a different kind of pacing than they have today. Today's everything is cut very fast and quick and action filled. And back then it was a little bit more, it was closer to the way you read a book. You know what I mean? Slower and a little bit more rounded, softer in a way. Of course, the modern movies are cool too, but the interesting thing is the way they made movies back then. Even if there was a stretch where not much was happening, the way they filmed it, the way the pacing was and the story was told, you still wanted to watch it just because it was nice watching it. It gave you good feeling. While right now you have movies where there's a lot of action and they are done really well, but then when there is a stretch where not too much is happening, this kind of cutting that is made for action doesn't work anymore, and suddenly you get bored really quickly because there is nothing to look at. At that moment, it's just like it's just like emptiness, you know. The way the film it's filmed doesn't fit the slowness that suddenly appears, right? So yeah. Anyways, okay. Michael Douglas. Yes, Michael Douglas. Oh, God. Oh, there's another one from Joanne, which is pretty similar. And his father, Kirk. Oh, Kirk Douglas. Who was Kirk Douglas again? Let me see. Kirk Douglas. Yeah, I think that's before my time. I can remember this here, that picture here. Have I seen movies with him? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's before my time, I think. Oh, I remember this. Yes, I remember this. What is he? Spartacus? Isn't he Spartacus? Kirk Douglas Spartacus? Yes, of course, Spartacus. That's it. Yes, I remember that. Okay, interesting. Yeah. This is the most, by the way, the most abused scene of in movie history, because I'm always like, oh, please stop, when they have this kind of I'm Spartacus, and they use it in other movies for other reasons, and you're like, oh, come on. It's good for that movie because it's part of the actual story, but then in other movies it's just like cringy and like, no, come on, please have some other ideas, you know. I don't like that, but in the original movie it's pretty cool. It pretty much fits. All right, let's go back here. Joanne. So what is this, by the way? I'm a bit confused because this is not a puzzle. It uses negative space in the way of like removing things from the image, but I don't really understand for what reason those are removed. I understand, I have seen these kind of patterns in wall decoration, but in an image, I'm a little bit puzzled what the aim is in that case here. It looks cool, so no doubt about that, but I'm just a little bit confused what the purpose is of removing these parts from the image, because first of all, it makes it really hard to understand what is going on in specifically this case, because it's kind of, the elements are so nondescript in themselves that it's hard to understand what you're seeing. If it would be a portrait, I could understand it a little bit better, because you see the different parts of the face, and then your eyes, your brain is just like filling out the gaps. But in that case, it's a little bit interesting, but it's still interesting. Interesting attempt, interesting work, interesting entry, right? Just a little bit confused on, like here, it makes more sense in the way that it's a puzzle and you know the purpose. But here's a little bit like, why are these pieces missing in that moment, right? Mosaic tiles. Yes, but yeah. If it's mosaic tiles, then why is there this gap in between, right? And why do they all have a white frame around them? If it would be more like a mosaic, I would understand that better. Maybe it's a little bit. I'm a bit confused of the purpose of this, but it's still cool. It's interesting. Maybe it's just me who is confused by that. So here we have the next one by Shari. Again, thank you very much, Joanne. Pretty cool. Oh, okay. So here we again have these kind of frames. I was always, by the way, I was also thinking, should I do these kind of paper frames and all kinds of frames as a creative pack in kind of a watercolor style? But then the problem is Affinity Photo, in the way that the filters are set up and the way you cannot really record presets or macros or stuff like that, so you can't really do, like, for example, in Photoshop you can do these automations that will create a nice effect for you that looks like watercolor. In Affinity Photo you can't do that, so I could at best like do an online course about that and then provide some frames that look like paper borders, you know, but I'm not sure if that's it. I enjoy it. I'm not sure if you enjoy that. Okay, so here we have some leaves. It's really interesting how you cut them out, but then also cut them out in a blurred fashion. That's really interesting. I haven't seen that before, and I didn't think about that to do it in that way, to have the blurriness also part of the cutout, because usually you think about it like a sharp cutout, like with a knife or something with a scissor. So that's actually pretty creative to do it that way. Very nice. Pretty interesting. I mean, the choice of the elements in this case, again, is a little bit where you have the question of why was that removed from the image, right? Because it's an element that is also like still there and there's a ton of it. So it's not a specific element that is loaded with a certain meaning in relation to the rest of the picture, right? So for example, if there was there was the head, the cap of the child was falling into these leaves and was lying there, or a toy or something, and you would make a negative space from that, it has a meaning in relation to the boy and also to the weather condition. But the leaves are not really different from the rest of the leaves you find here. So the question is, why are these leaves singled out in that kind of way to give you some, you know, more focus, but at the same time imaginative freedom? For what purpose was that done, right? Other than, of course, in this case, the trying out the technique and experimenting with that, which is absolutely cool and very important to do that. I'm just asking from the like artistic standpoint of what is the significance of these specific leaves in that case, right? So that's maybe a good point to think about when you do these negative spaces. How do they add to the element of the story, right? Okay, cool. Leaves are falling. Yes, but the other leaves are also there, right? So that's my question. Why these leaves specifically? Just use a texture brush around edges with a mask. What is this referring to? Just use the texture brush around the edges with a mask. I'm not sure what this is referring to. Okay. Here we have the next one from Julie. The last one was from Shari. Thank you very much for that. Pretty cool. Ooh, what do we have here? Oh, interesting. That is interesting. With that dress part missing. Okay, that's a cool idea. And then the background is coming through. It looks a little bit like a paper. Pretty nice. It looks pretty realistic. Very nice. I like that. And you can see, this is really cool. Our brain is filling in the gaps. So when you look here, you can see the shape of the body where it's flowing, because we know from experience, like for example, we do know it's not going like this. We do know it's not going like this, hopefully. So it's probably going more like this. And the brain is just filling that in. That's really impressive that our mind just makes these shapes happen, right? And here's the original picture. Really interesting. It works very well. Very nice. Pretty cool. Oh my God. This is so painful to do that. It's really impressive when people choose to do that, even as a hobby. Like if you do it professionally, that is torture. And when you do it as a hobby, again, like pain as I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't do that. But it's pretty impressive if people can do that. Anyways, yeah, really like that. Very interesting. By the way, when I look at this, and she has this, how do you call this in English? And in German, it's like a tutu. Or a tutu, is it a tutu or a tutu? I think it's a tutu. This shape here, if you would have that as a little bit of shadow around here, not on the top, just on the lower part, bit of shadow following that form, so we can fill in the gaps of seeing the rest of that. So that is still there, and there's a tiny bit of shadow here on both sides, so you have a sense that there is a skirt. Could be interesting, maybe, as an idea, right? Really cool. I like that idea and the execution. Very nice. Thank you very much, Julie. Tutu. Okay, tutu. Yes, it's like went invisible with the background. Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, tutu. Okay. Does anybody know why it's called tutu? Why does it have such a strange name? There we go. By the way, sorry, completely disconnected again. Recently, I think it was a comedian or someone who was saying, why do animals have different names than we have most of the time? And I was thinking, yeah, actually, yes. Why does a cat have a different name, or a dog? Why does a dog have a different name as a person? Why is it not the same? Why? I mean, sometimes it's the same. You can call your dog Charlie, but mostly they are called something like Fluffy or I don't know, some other name like that, you know? So strange, right? It's interesting. I don't know too many English animal names. Most of them that we have are not really actual words, or actually words, yes, too, but they are more German, right? You know, they make more sense in German. Interesting. Another one with a puzzle. So this is from Peter, 3D puzzle. And here, oh, I thought this was, for a second, I thought this was a bowl for the puzzle pieces. But first of all, it's too small. So again, very interesting choice of elements. Why is there a coffee or something, or a tea standing next to that on the ground? Interesting. Okay. What I really like is that you cut out these puzzle pieces and then you randomly like spread them over the ground like you would with a puzzle. So they are not they are in different rotations, they are in different places. They're not like just put down there. After you cut them out, you actually thought about where to put them, how to put them in a way that looks like you still have to search for the pieces to try to fit them in there. So that's pretty interesting. Shari says, cut out leaves are falling in real time. That's why I blurred them. The texture mask created the edge of the picture. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Cool. My cat's name is Midnight, which means midnight. Ooh, is it a dark cat? It's a black cat? Interesting. Tutu came from the French cuckoo or chouchou, meaning buttocks, really? Oh, okay. Wait a second. Is the shape of the tutu inspired by the white hip skirt that we had in the past in the French? Is that the starting point of why this is spreading out so like vertically? Is that the reason? And this is why it's called buttocks? Interesting. What was that? What time was that? Let's see. Yes, look at that. Whoa, my God. Can you imagine that people wore these things in everyday life? Not in everyday life. It's more like this is something you wear to special events or maybe when you're in higher society. But as a means for looking more fertile and more attractive, you would wear a gigantic hip, basically also a gigantic butt, like super extra wide, and people make fun of like the stars today when they have these kind of what do you say you know, surgery, plastic surgery and stuff like that, and people did that in the past, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's culture. I respect it, but what the hell? Look at that. Oh, look at this. So maybe, yeah, I can see from here to a tutu, the way is not too far. But that's ridiculous. And by the way, you have the same thing for the male part, but with a with the morning wood in leather, like you had a little tent in the front of your trouser to make it look like you're aroused in that moment. And they walk around that in front of other people, not just like for at home with your wife, just to show that you're just like a manly man. You would do that. It's really ridiculous what people did in the past. Anyways, okay. If you can see it in classic paintings. Can we see maybe in the classic paintings? No, I'm not sure what time period it was or what it's called. Trouser. Wait, let me search off screen real quick so we don't see any kind of strange things here. No. Painting. My God. Yeah, this is a little bit like that. 1 second. Oh my God. Can I show this on screen? I mean, it's a classic painting, right? It can't be illegal to show that. It's a classic painting. 1 second. Look at this. This is a classic trouser that people would wear back in the day. Look at that. That is absolutely absurd, but it was like accepted. This is not what he wears at home to be fancy with his wife. This is what you would wear at the court in front of the king. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, if you think about the craziness of what people do today to be cool as stars with all the kind of stuff they put, like grills in their teeth and stuff like that, think about that. That was classic culture when people said, oh, the golden years or whatever, the golden times. That's craziness. Anyways. Yeah. Oh, God. Well. Okay, anyways, Peter, pretty cool, very nice. Here's the starting point. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Did you make a asset collection of these different kind of puzzle shapes and then color them differently, or did you download that somewhere? Because that's pretty cool. And also the pretty cool idea that you can have that in different colors, because then it makes it super easy to select the different parts afterwards to cut them out. That is interesting. That is really interesting. Cool. Very nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Oh, this was already the last one. Okay, well, we are through. Yeah, so people were never different. Yeah, probably. Yes. We always have this kind of craziness in culture. But it's really interesting to see the more absurd parts of human culture. And especially like when you have this kind of competition, these things come out even more, right? This is also why the French culture in this time has some of the most absurd things happening in them, because of the way that the government worked, that every part of royalty had to be on that, what is it called? The palace, whatever, in the Versailles, you know what I mean? So everybody has to go there and live there and stay there near the king, because before that they would be out in their different regions that they are governing, so they wouldn't see each other at all. And so there wasn't a need to compete with each other with different fashion styles and culture and whatever, and money and all these kind of things. But because they are so close together, because the king said, hey, you have to all be at my court, you have to all live here with me, they had to compete and stand out. And this is what made this so extreme, more extreme than in many other cultures, right? Maybe this is also the reason why we see a lot of this craziness right now in social media, because every channel is right next to the next channel. So if you want to be on the top, you have to do some really crazy stuff to stay on the tops, to make people look, to be in the press, stuff like that. And they do some very, very crazy stuff. Then on the other side, they do some very subtle stuff that you wouldn't even know if you're not part of that scene. So for example, recently I saw a video where they said, look, there is, I don't know, was some kind of singer or something. And she said, look at that, she has 2 different shoes. They are slightly different. You wouldn't notice it as a normal viewer. This is just for PR, because they know that these fashion magazines and these, what is it called? 30 Mile Zone, these kind of things, these kind of magazines that talk about all this kind of small talk, they will see it and they will say, hey, that star had the wrong shoe on. And so this star is in the press again, right? Just to have the next headline, just to be in the talk, to be in the mouths of other people is really important, right? So yeah, this is what comes from that. The craziness. But we need that, because that is where culture comes from. Everything we have today is because at some point someone was crazy enough to try it. All right. That's it for today. Oh my God, 2.5 hours. I'm so sorry. I really overdrew today. So yeah, I'm very thankful for everybody who has been here. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a really interesting look into editing these pictures. I thought I would edit more pictures, to be honest, but it was still a lot of fun. Let me know if you want to see something like that again. And we can also do another round about editing these photos in Affinity Photo, maybe. That could also be a thing, right? I would prepare them before a little bit in Photo Lab before the stream, and then I do the final editing to create the artistic style inside of Affinity Photo. Let me know if this is something you would enjoy and you want to see. You can write it as a comment under the video, because the stream is ending in a minute. So don't write it in the live chat. Write it as a comment under the video if you would like to see something like that. Okay. Thank you very much for that, and have a nice night. And thank you very much for all of the entries. It was really a pleasure to look at them and review them for you. Bye.